Hello, how's the audio? Looks like it's good from this side. Always takes a second to check on YouTube. There we go. Wrong output. Of course, that doesn't really matter, that part, because I'm not going to record that, but let's just try again. Hello? Testing one, two, three. I guess I have to say something in order to hear. Testing one, two, three. Okay, seems to be working. All right, I haven't even known what to say because really I kind of want to make a can't we all get along message about Trump, but it doesn't look like we can. And I would just have to follow it up with we're still going to oppose him. So um, I do hope we get along and not have too much violence. I can't even say no violence because there's already violence. But I think it's important people understand, we're not voting in a presidential election. Often people act like on the immigration thing, this guy on CNN was saying, well, we voted and the people said what they wanted. Well, more people voted for Hillary. So Trump wins because of the way, we calculate it. He has all the privileges, discretion rather, of a president. And you can say, well, he can do it anyway, but you can't be saying, well, because these people won and therefore now we're all that way. We're not voting on how the culture war works out or even on all of those issues. Now, I get it. If Bernie had won or something, I might be pushing for him to do some socialist things that the other 50% didn't really like. You guys get to do that. Okay, but it's kept within the realm of a couple things. We have a democratic ship, it's in the ocean. We're voting who gets to steer it. It doesn't there's still laws like no intentionally steering into a rock. Somebody might grab the wheel if they see you doing it, accidental, on purpose, whatever. Certain rules. You can't take everybody that didn't vote for you and make them leave their cabins and go down in the deck. Now, all I'm saying is, of course, we're going to be the opposition. And I don't remember me trying to deny the right wing its oppositional role, right? And you can't expect us not to have one and say, oh, but you have to respect the president. They've always been saying this. They didn't respect Jimmy Carter. Then they said you have to respect Reagan, he's the president. Then they didn't respect Bill Clinton and said you have to respect the Bushes because, I mean Bush W or whatever, uh, because he's the president. Then with Obama, he can't even legally be president. Hillary rapes kids at the Pizza Hut. So you can't tell us with a straight face that you believe any principle about that kind of respect. And it's not like you got with the program once we voted that we'd be Obama hopeful for the rest of history, because that isn't what we did. We specifically don't have a system like that. It's not even for a lifetime, the presidency. It's not even like the Queen Victoria. It doesn't get a whole era, just a little tiny 4 or 8 years. And that's the person that gets to steer the boat. Yes, you get to have some discretion. Yes, you get to steer in the direction you said you were going to steer in. We expect that you to do that. But if you said you were going to do illegal things, we don't have to let you do that just because you said it, right? There's a line that we can oppose you just because we don't like it. Even the things you said you wanted to do, of course, other people are going to oppose it. And it's the same for both sides. And if people don't want to acknowledge that, well, that's reality. It doesn't have to be acknowledged per se. Things can get pretty ugly if you really pretend that everybody at these protests or the town halls is paid to be there, right? Then uh, you have to face the facts that the people that are going to them, the half that's interested in that, like I went to one here locally. I know whether I got paid or not. It doesn't matter what you say or think on your 4chan. You're just fooling yourselves. And there are checks and balances. And the checks and balances, people learn civics so terribly. It's not even the checks and balances they teach you about legislative and judiciary and executive. That's just in the federal government. And that's kind of prone to a corruption of those guys all working together and having shared interests as being part of the same power structure. It is pretty good check and balance system, but a bigger checks and balance is that there's more than one municipality, right? So when Tom DeLay went to jail, it wasn't the federal government that was attacking him or a prosecutor. His political connections helped him avoid that in his position. It was a state prosecutor back in Texas, right? And there's also towns, cities can do the same thing. You know, gay marriage had a big breakthrough moment when Gavin Newsom just said, you know what, the people, it's a city office that gives out the marriage certificates. I'm giving them out. Didn't last that long, but it made a huge impact. Whether it was right or wrong, I'm just saying I think it was right. But it demonstrates we have these different governments, they overlap. If you commit a murder and the federal prosecutor is your buddy won't prosecute you, there's still a chance that the town sheriff will, or the state prosecutors, the county prosecutors. And if not them, then local newspapers and people and protests. This is all part of the checks and balances. And you want to ignore it and laugh about, ha, we're ignoring it. You shouldn't do that for your own good. It, denying reality is not going to help you achieve whatever you hope to achieve. It's fine to try to have Trump push things as much as possible, but you better keep in mind law. You better keep in mind things that make other people panic, like declaring a free press an enemy of the people. Those reactions are going to be real. And you want to go, no, we see the reactions, but they're not real now. They're just people are paying for it. Making up a story about what it might be as a fairy tale is not going to change whatever it really is, right? So, um, the reason to cooperate is because we're all in the same ship. You guys, conservatives and liberals alike, you guys have rejected my notion that we have so much animosity in this country. And I like conservatives and can find things we overlap on. I'd like to make a video with Mr. Cropper about um, immigration. We both happen to believe on, though we disagree on everything else. But we are not getting along. In general, that's not the situation. Isn't a bunch of people like me trying to figure out ways to go forward with people when they only have minimal agreements sometimes, right? So you don't like the two-slip date solution I've offered. So that means we're all on one boat, right? You can't ignore, pretend we're not here, or try to fuck us over. You're supposed to do something good for the whole country and convince us, wow, we didn't know it could be so good to have concentration camps. But while you do that, of course, we are going to oppose you. And your expectations otherwise just seem really naive. And who are you trying to fool? You used to think people were just doing it to fool other people, to just be like, well, here's an argument. But I think people actually believe this. They somehow just flip. They didn't think that just 6 months ago, but now they think that. It's like we don't like pay for play when it's Hillary, but that doesn't strike them as hypocritical. Fine, okay, you like cheating when it helps you and you don't like it when it hurts you. Um, but how stupid do you think the rest of the people are? I don't know. I'm not that stupid. I can remember if you followed the rules you're saying to follow now 6 months ago. I can remember that. So a lot longer than that. Um, so one way to avoid violence is to acknowledge that our opinion exists and that we still have a say in a country that doesn't have an absolute power.